Hello everyone and welcome into this KREM 2 Plus live stream. I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick and today is a weather impact alert day due to high heat on this August 25th. It's actually the next 2 days that we are alerting for and likely our hottest 2 days amidst this heat wave that started from this past weekend. So as we jump into the weather information for today, as you'd expect, like it was yesterday, just more heat as it pours into the inland northwest. So heat advisories and extreme heat warnings still continue for the region. The heat advisories are mostly for eastern Washington. It does include some areas of North Idaho, including Coeur d'Alene and Moscow as well. It goes until 9 p.m. on Wednesday. Temperatures will largely be up to about the mid-90s or so. Meanwhile, the extreme heat warnings, the more severe of the two heat criteria here, extending from Omak in Okanogan County and clear through central and southern Washington. All of these locations likely to see temperatures up to 100 degrees or even into the low 100s, especially for those hotter spots of the inland northwest. Also include Lewiston into that equation as well. That's basically where we were on Sunday with low 100s for central Washington and about 95 in Spokane. And it's the same story for today and tomorrow. So our weather impact alert day continues for Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be the one key difference here because I think the heat will edge back a little bit. Still high enough for heat advisories, but we're going to clear our alert day for Wednesday because it won't be quite this hot overall. 95 and above, that's when we usually use our weather impact alert day for the high heat because that's the threshold where it really starts to become a bit more than just uncomfortable, especially for those that have to be outside for an extended period of time. Of course, stay hydrated, stay cool, take breaks where there is air conditioning, and if you have to or want to get outside, the best time to do that is always first thing in the morning when we get to our low temperatures, or wait till after sunset as temperatures finally start to cool. And of course, without the direct sunlight, things are a lot more tolerable to be outside. But even today at 96, 97 between Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, that's around some of our hottest days that we've had this entire summer season. We've had a handful of days in both June and July up to 97. That's been our maximum temperature recorded so far this whole summer season, and we're basically right there again today. Again, more locations in central Washington like Omak, Chelan, even Grand Coulee and Moses Lake could very well be at about 100 to 102 degrees for today and then again for tomorrow. And remember, this is in the shade as well. If you're in the direct sunlight or if you're standing on the concrete or the blacktop, it's way hotter than that. And of course, the inside of parked cars can oftentimes get as hot as 140 degrees. So remember, there are also multiplying factors when it comes to high heat, not just what the shaded air temperature is going to be. But that's our baseline, and that's what we can accurately forecast for. 96 today is actually just a couple degrees shy of the record high for today's date. Again, August 25th here. 98, again, maybe just out of range for today's high temperature to be able to officially call it record breaking. But if you've been able to tell the difference between 98 and 96, I know I can't. It all just feels hot at the end of the day. So that's what we're dealing with. Again, just some of our hottest days so far this summer season. And like I mentioned, today and tomorrow, alert days, because these are the 2 days that will be the hottest within this 5-day heat wave. Those heat advisories and extreme heat warnings kicked in on Saturday, and they do go through Wednesday, but it's today and tomorrow that are going to be the hottest 2 days overall. We'll get a break from the heat heading into Thursday for sure. The relief from that heat might not come from where you expect. I'm going to cover that next, but notice that even at its coolest, we are still above average, which, by the way, average 80 degrees now for this final week of August. And we're still staying within about 4 or 5 degrees above it, even at minimum, let alone today. Again, 15 degrees above average and just shy of record-breaking temperatures. All this being fueled by probably the most massive ridge in the jet stream I've seen for quite some time over the West Coast. I mean, look at how far back I had to pan the map to show almost the entirety of North America. The top of this jet stream is going through northern Alaska and almost into the Arctic Ocean. That is how tall the ridge is. We would call this a high amplitude pattern, so you get extremes on both ends of the scale. High heat through the West Coast and the first fall cold front of the season for those out east. They are certainly thankful for that because it really eases off the humidity for our friends in the Midwest and eastward from there. But we're talking about the heat here. So that heat is locked in place for a long stretch of time. So our relief really just has to come from cloud cover or other smaller storm systems embedded inside that ridge. We're lucky enough that there's a bit of some monsoon moisture that's been bubbling up to our south, mainly over Arizona, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico. As that finds a bit of a boundary and a bit of momentum northward, we actually will see a chance for some light rainfall by Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Now, the rain chances are not going to feel very monsoon-like, so those of you that have ever lived or have family in Arizona, this is not really the true monsoon thunderstorms because of how far this has to carry through the mountains of the Rocky Mountains here. A lot of that moisture gets squeezed out by the time it even arrives. Nonetheless, we have a small chance of rain on Thursday, but it's the cloud cover itself, literally just extra cloud cover, helps to ease back that heat by a little bit because the ridge is still there, but because of the cloud cover, we actually ease back the heat. There's a little bit of a storm system off to the west. Unsure if that is actually going to arrive in the Pacific Northwest, but it could be a contributing factor. It might actually help a bit with that northerly momentum that the monsoon moisture is finding here. But that's what I'm seeing in our midterm forecast here. That's why we actually see the end of this particular heat wave on Thursday, but maybe not of the end of the overarching weather pattern as a whole. Looks like the Labor Day weekend actually could be pretty hot as well. A couple other weather factors that I want to cover that I didn't have time to in our normal weather forecasts on Up with KREM, since we're doing an expanded outlook here on KREM 2 Plus. Let's now move to air quality. There are air quality alerts for central Idaho here. A few of these actually were allowed to expire around the Lewiston area. However, there are still some air quality drops in this region. Orofino still has unhealthy air quality as of 11 a.m. on Monday morning, and Lewiston just saw a hit to air quality to the unhealthy for sensitive group, so that would be the orange category. It's all being fueled by some wildfires in central Idaho, so it is just vicinity wildfires that are causing the smoke itself to really just lay down in all these valleys in between these mountain ranges. And it's having a hard time really moving anywhere because the weather pattern itself is so stagnant and unmoving. There's very little wind in the first place. So if you're seeing wildfire smoke, if you're smelling it, it's not going anywhere any quickly. There's no momentum at the moment. So the air quality concerns will remain over central Idaho for actually at least a few days here. The Island Creek fire in Idaho County is the largest of those fires. It's burned about 10,000 acres and is the biggest smoke producer. Meanwhile, the fires in Bonner County that are on either side of Lake Pend Oreille, the Sunset Fire and the Lightning Creek fire, these are burning a lot less aggressively. We've not seen any major movement in those fire lines, and the containment levels have increased in this past week. So these two fires are less of a concern in terms of smoke and air quality. The Island Creek fire, among many others, ranging in size from just a dozen acres to 10,000 acres in size. Those wildfires in central Idaho are really the big troublemakers. By the way, there's barely any wind in the region. So quite purely at a forecast perspective, if you're nearby the wildfires, you have the best chance to experience some of the smoke that is coming off of those fires. It's not super clear on our weather satellite because there's both high level cloud cover, the more pure white shades that you see here, mixed in with a little bit of the gray from the fires. I wish I could show you a better look, but today it's actually two layers of clouds, the high level cloud cover and the smoke that is underneath and near the ground in combination for our southernmost areas. But our computer modeling does a great job picking this up. So here's what it looks like for the next 2 days. Today, it actually pours out even more smoke on that Island Creek fire. This is Idaho County, the big county that's where Grangeville is. Yeah, there's a lot of smoke in this region. So air quality alerts for central Idaho as a result of that. Notice that these more green and blue shades, maybe some haze in the sky, but nothing that's going to hit our air quality. In Spokane, the air quality is currently moderate, not expecting that to get worse today. However, for tomorrow, I think some locations over southeastern Washington and the Palouse have a better chance to experience some of that wildfire smoke, and thus air quality drops. So this is something I'm going to be monitoring basically hour by hour through the rest of the day today, as well as Tuesday and Wednesday, to see if any of this smoke from central Idaho actually hurts the air quality across a larger region of the inland Northwest. So I'll be on guard for areas like Pullman and southeastern Washington for Tuesday, but until then, it's just pretty much an hour by hour basis of where that smoke is currently heading. Finally, one more note is there is a small chance for thunderstorms over the northern Cascades both today and tomorrow for what is considered an unstable atmosphere. Effectively, it is so hot outside that the cumulus clouds could just grow and tap into some of this instability and become a thunderstorm. The chances of that happening are extremely low, but because the heat is so high, it is technically a possibility. And because those storms would be small to begin with, it does come with an increased fire danger, but this should be purely over the mountain regions, though it is something that is on our radar because there are red flag warnings until 9 p.m. Tuesday for Chelan and Okanagan County, but not elsewhere for the inland Northwest. There is no chance for any rain anywhere close to Spokane for quite some time, not until that monsoon moisture arrives on Thursday morning. That'll be our best chance to get any kind of relief from this current heat. Again, our heat wave generally goes through Wednesday, but today and tomorrow are easily the hottest 2 days here, so that's why we have these next 2 days under weather impact alert days. Note that the heat advisories go through Wednesday before we get to that heat relief on Thursday. Small chance for scattered showers against some of the monsoon moisture helping with that and could actually give us some much needed rain, even if it is just a little bit of that. But one final note again is the heat advisories for Spokane go until 9 p.m. Wednesday evening, and the hotter areas of the inland Northwest, including Omak, Moses Lake, and Lewiston, are under extreme heat warnings. These were issued back on Saturday and go through Wednesday. Today and tomorrow will be the hottest 2 days of this late August heat wave. Make sure to stay cool, stay hydrated, and stay safe out there. Otherwise, enjoy this late summer weather. I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick. You can catch me on the KREM 2 News at noon in just a bit. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and have a good Monday.